So today we're going to work on our 3 turns and our Mohawks slash C step. It's the same step, but everyone kind of uses a different term for that step, but it's the same step. But we're going to go over how to do that today. Um, these are extremely crucial foundational steps that you learn in skating. You use them all the time. They don't go away, so they need to be very strong to not only do harder elements in skating and harder skating skills, but it really is the foundation for a lot of jumps, beginning of spins. So they need to be very strong. And this is when a lot of bad habits start and when skaters go a long time without correcting them. These bad habits turn into perfected bad habits. So they learn how to do their skating with these kind of mistakes. And then when they wonder why they get stuck on harder elements, it comes back to these foundational steps or these habits that they learn. So it's really important you learn them correctly and take them very seriously. And the other thing you have to remember is maybe up until this point, everything's come maybe pretty easily, or everything seemed like you've been able to grasp it pretty quickly. And it's taken only a little bit of practice or a little bit of work, but these steps not only take a while to learn, they are like a lifelong process to perfect. So yes, you can perfect them young, obviously, and perfect them when you obviously first learn them. But even to this day, I constantly try and be aware of what I'm doing and how I'm doing them. So it's these foundational skating skills and skating skills in general are a continuous process of learning how to do them better. So just keep that in mind, that these steps might be the first time you're experiencing some longer practice time, or that even though you think you're doing it, there is something you could do a little bit better on it to make it stronger so that you can move on to the harder elements, or when you get to those harder elements that it's not so difficult, or and and all that stuff is in your body. So we'll start with 3 turns, and you have to remember everything you do in skating is on a circle. So you have to envision a half circle right here. So I'm on the line so you can see where I start, but I'm going to be making a half circle with my edge. So first off, before you even get to the 3 turn, you want to make sure that a couple of things. Your 2-foot turn moving is correct. So you want to make sure that when you step and turn, you see a clear turn, and you don't see this basically, which is like a turn with the shoulders. You want to see that you're turning with your hips and your feet, and that it's a clear motion. It's not this kind of like upper body rotation. So make sure that is nice and correct, and that you can keep your arms still at the end. A lot of times you'll see skaters go like this, and they'll use your arms to turn, and we don't want that, because that is not true turning around. That's just using your body in a way to get around, and that's not using your skates. So next step, if you can do the 2-foot turn correctly, is you want to be able to just do a 1-foot glide in a half circle like this, and not be like, wobbling. A lot of times skaters, when they do this 3 turn, so first I'm actually going to show a correct 3 turn. So I push and I turn, and I can hold my edge all the way down back to the line. A lot of times you'll see skaters, they think they're doing it, but they're doing something like this, and they're pushing and doing the turn, like they're using this foot to do the turn. They're not actually turning their foot. So when I push, I'm able to glide for a second, then turn and hold the edge all the way down without like wobbling around, moving my arms. You don't see any rotation. So the common mistakes that people make are either the wrong hands in front, and I start with the right hand in front. I know a couple people teach it a couple different ways, but I like this way. It's a very, I think, simple, basic way to learn. So right arm in front. And in skating, we have this term called checked, and checking is like stopping rotation. So like we rotate with our hips in skating. So when I check my body and I check my shoulders in the opposite direction of what my hips are going, that makes me stop rotating. So checking is extremely important. It is something every skater has to work on daily. So this is one of the first instances that you really start using that term. So like I said, what they commonly do is they'll push with this foot and turn and they think they're doing 3-turn. That's not a 3-turn, that's a spin. So when you're here, you have to make sure you're in that T position right here. Another time they'll either start like this and they'll just push straight off the toe, and then that means their hips aren't checked. They'll be in this like parallel motion, and that is not correct technique. So you want to make sure you're in this T position. You bend your knee, you push up to the top of the circle, turn, and hold the edge all the way down. The 3-turn is going to be at the top of the circle, so you don't want it too early or too late, right? That's not entirely correct either. So you want to make sure that you can hold, the turn goes at the top of the circle that you just made, and you can hold that edge all the way down without your upper body moving. So a next mistake that some skaters make is they'll get this part, they'll turn, and then they'll keep rotating. That's the most common mistake. And you see a lot of varieties with that. So, and that is something you definitely want to correct, because that applies to all your jumps, your spins, everything later on. So you really want to make sure after this 3-turn, you pull this right shoulder back and that you can hold that edge. So that just takes a ton of practice, and I'll do it on the other side because you have to be able to do all directions in skating. So this side, my left hand, sorry, is going to be in front. I'm going to push, I'm going to turn, and I'm going to hold all the way down. So it just takes lots and lots of practice. And I just did what I just showed you too. I should have specified before. We're outside 3 turns. That means I was on my outside edge, right? My outside of the boot is facing the line. So that's one way to look at it. You'll also learn inside 3 turns. So I'm going to switch feet, and now my right foot's going to be on the ice when I'm doing the turn, and I'm going to be on my inside edge. This time, I'm going to start with my left arm in front, and I'm going to push, and I'm actually going to switch the turn. That's one way to do it. The other way is you can start with this right hand in front. Actually, I take that back. Forget what I just said. Put your right hand in front and make sure you're in that T position, and you're going to push, go up to the top, turn, and hold that edge all the way down. That's a good way to just start the inside turns. If you want like the more technically correct way, you're going to push, turn at the top, and then you're going to rotate your hands down. That's how you would finish the turn in a more advanced way. But for right now, if you're just learning it, let's get the hands down. So you're going to push up to the top, turn, and squeeze, hold all the way down. That checking on the inside is really hard for a lot of people. So you'll see this a lot of time. They'll do the turn, and then they'll still be over here. We don't want that. So we want here, all that same stuff applies up to the top, lift, turn over, and hold all the way down. And I'm going to keep my shoulders nice and checked the whole time. Every single time I'm turning, I'm pulling my right side back because I was just doing a counterclockwise turn. If I'm going this way, now my left foot's going to be in front, and I'm on my left forward inside edge. I'm going to push up to the top, turn, and now I'm all the way going down to the circle. Going down to the circle, and so let me do this again really quick because I kind of got a little scattered there. So I'm going to be here, up to the top, turn, I'm pulling this left shoulder back, checking all the way down, and finishing my turn. That's the basis for everything, but it takes a ton of practice, so make sure you do that. Now we're going to go on to Mohawks C-step. People call it C-step because it makes like a C motion. I actually think as a coach, this is one of the hardest things to teach, and it takes any skater, not just kids, a little bit of time to understand the way the feet go, and that we're going from forward to backward and we're switching feet. A lot of times you'll see skaters do this, like they step and they'll step forward again and turn, and that's not correct. So you want to make sure we're starting in this T position. I'm going to go on my right foot first, and I want to go up to the top of the circle. I'm going to bring my foot and step down. So my back foot's already going to be turned backwards, so that when I step down at it, I'm already going in a backwards direction, and I'm completing that circle that you saw me make on these 3 turns. Like I said, everything in skating is on a circle. So even when I'm doing this Mohawk C-step, I'm making a half circle because I'm using my edges. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to push, bring your foot in, and step down. I would recommend doing this on the wall first. So you'll hold on to the wall, pretend I'm holding onto the wall, and you're going to step, bring your foot in, and then lift your back foot. That's one way to do it. And then once you understand that, you're going to go step, step. All right, the common mistakes that people make is they're going to go step, step, turn. Not correct. What's some other ones they do? They'll do this, or they'll like do this turn and then switch the foot. I mean, there's many varieties that they do, but at the end of the day, you have to, it's only 2 steps. So we go step, step again. All right, so I'm going to be here, rotate this back leg, turn it up, down I go. So you'll see switching pieces. I go push, push, hold, hold, hold. And there at the end, you saw that checking motion again. Because then once they actually get the steps, once a skater actually gets the steps down, they will end up, you'll see maybe something like this. They'll do it, and then they'll keep spinning, 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 spinning. You don't want that. So here, here, stay checked, chase, checked the whole time. And then when we do it on the other side, because like I said, you have to do everything both sides. Here, here, check, check, check. So those are how you do the basic introductory like turns for basic skating skills. And it takes a lot of practice, and it takes a good amount of time to like really ingrain that stuff into your body, but you want to learn them correctly. So if you're learning how to do these, or you want to just go back and, you know, really make sure your technique is correct, I hope this helped, and keep practicing.